Hi guys, it's Mrs. Comparato here. I am going to do a little tutorial explaining how you're going to turn your plain Jane Google Slides presentations into something that we call an interactive poster. So let me just get right to it. I'm going to go to the present mode, maybe, because this gives you an example and it shows you what I mean by an interactive poster. Loading, loading, loading. My goodness, be patient. It's gonna load. There it is. Okay, so I've taken Darren's project, and Darren does have a few errors to correct, but all in all, he did a nice job, and I went ahead and started turning it into that interactive poster. All right, so Darren originally had one picture on the screen. I added a photo for each slide in his presentation, except for his title slide because this is the title slide. We're already here. So as you can see, once you scroll over the photo, some of them turn into hands. You know by now, that means that I can click on it and it's linked. It is linked for me to go somewhere. So I'll click on this photo and you can see that it takes you to one of the slides, okay? How did this disaster affect Chernobyl citizens? Darren, I see some work on this one. But after you read, I have added a button, as all of you will be able to do at the end of this tutorial. I added an arrow and I linked it back to the home slide. So after you go ahead and you read all of this information, to get back to the home slide, to the actual poster piece of it all, you're going to click that arrow and it takes you back home. This photo is not linked yet. This photo is not linked yet. Down here, we click on it, it takes us to our conclusion. All right, so this is the conclusion slide that Darren has already created, and what we're doing today is we're going to be linking these slides to the different photos on our poster or on our title slide. Again, I have an arrow down here that I've created. I made it into a button. Once I click it, it takes me back home. That is an interactive poster. All right, so here's how you do it. Let's get out of presenter mode, and here we are back to our editing. Okay, so I noticed that this picture right here still needs to be linked. Here is how you do it. It's so easy. Just follow these steps. So the first thing I want to do is I want to outline the photo in order to make it a button. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a shape. Now you could choose any shape you wanted. All right, you don't have to choose a square, but to me that looks best. It's the cleanest, has the best edges, and it's the easiest. So I'm going to add a square. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just make sure you get the middle of that photo in your square. Now obviously it's going to come up as a square. I want to make the inside transparent because I want to be able to see the photo. So while it is highlighted, immediately I'm going to go up here to my filler and I'm going to click transparent, which means see-through. That way, I just see my photo. Now if you look closely, you can see there's a little gray right there. That kind of bothers me, so I'm going to move it over just a little bit. Okay, that way it looks like it blends in with the photo. All right, so I'm going to highlight that square that I just created. It's transparent, but it is there. I'm going to two-finger click, or is it right-click on your Chromebooks? I'm not sure which it is, but in order to get your drop-down menu, two-finger click or right finger click, I'm going to scroll down to where it says Link. Click on it. Now it asks you, where do you want to go whenever you click on that picture? What are you trying to link it to? And as you see, you can paste a link, okay, right here. So let's say I wanted you to go watch a YouTube video. I could post that link right here. But this time, I want to link it to a different slide in this presentation. And guys, that just automatically pulls up. Slides in presentation. I'm going to click that arrow to drop down a menu. These are all of my slides, okay? These are all of my slides. So I believe slide 4, I'm looking over here, doesn't have an arrow yet. So I'm going to click, I want it to link to slide 4. And then you're going to click apply. Okay? So I just linked that. In order to test it, you have to be in present mode. Hopefully this does not take as long as it did before. Good. Yes, it's linked. It turns into a hand. When I click on it, I do indeed go to slide number 4. Now, if you remember before, I had a little button right here, correct? I don't have it right now. So I'm going to show you how to add that little button onto slide number 4. Now, probably the smart thing to do would be go through all of your slides before linking them and make sure you have that button already created on each slide. So this one does not have one. I'm going to teach you how to add a button. I chose an arrow. You don't have to. You can choose something different. You could even link a word if you wanted to type home and draw a box around it and make it a button. You could do that as well. If you wanted to have a little button that said go back, you could do that. But I just chose to do arrows. So I went up here, sorry, add a shape. I'm going to add an arrow. I'm going to, whoop, don't want to do that. Sorry, Darren. Let's see, try that again. Arrow. I'm going to add my arrow down here. All right, if you remember, I now have to make it into a button. So on top of the arrow, I'm going to add a box. I know this seems like a lot of steps, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty easy. What do you think we do with that? Got to make it see-through, transparent. So guys, just like the photo, I've made this little arrow a button. So yes, you're right. Now I need to link it. So I'm going to highlight the square. I'm going to 2-finger click, and I want to link it. And again, it gives you that same option. Yes, I want to link it to a slide in this presentation. Well, mine's kind of cut off, but I want to go back to that first slide. Our first slide is our title slide. So on each of your slides with an arrow on it, the arrow button needs to go back home. First slide. And I'm going to apply that. Okay? Again, let's go to present mode. I linked this photo to slide 4. And then I linked my arrow back home. I hope you're not overwhelmed, and I hope that you can pause, go back, check to see what I did until you get it, because once you do get it, it's very simple. I'm going to run through another one very quickly. So slide 6 does not have an arrow. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to add an arrow. This arrow is going to become a button. In order to make it a button, draw a box. Make it invisible. Link it. First slide. Apply. Now I gotta link my map. Alright? I'm gonna outline it with a square, turn it into a button. I gotta make my square transparent or see-through. 2-finger click to link it to slide. What slide was that? 6. Apply. We check it in present mode. I know this is a long tutorial, but you guys watch YouTube videos that are long, right? Okay, so I'm linking it. Does it go back home? Yes. Does it go back home? Yes. Does it go back home? Yes. All right, you get the point. So I encourage you Before you turn this in, obviously you've proofread all your slides, you've went through and you've checked for punctuation. Darren, Chernobyl disaster. Disaster should be capitalized. Things like that. I encourage you to put it in presenter mode and truly go through and check, does each picture go where I want it to go? All right, there you have it, an interactive poster. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.